It's the RapNerd, and I just got out of another movie that released last week that again I couldn't get to, but like I mentioned in my other review, I got time today, so I'm here to talk about How to Make a Killing. And this movie follows Glen Powell's character, who is heir to this wealthy family but is under the radar because of things that happened to his mother at a young age. And when he gets older, he's given the proposition to take out the entire family so that he can inherit everything, and on goes this journey of onslaught in a sense, but in a very campy way. Now, Glen Powell is a new actor that I've had my eye on. I think the guy is great. I think that he has the star power, even though the box office doesn't quite, go that way. And, superstars these days aren't what they used to be due to social media and all that. But I think that he just does a good job of being the lead. He's charismatic. He can be silly and funny when he wants to. And a lot of the movies that I've seen him in recent years, like this one, Hitman, Twister, I've generally enjoyed all of them. I can't forget last year's Running Man as well. Like, the guy is very likable, so obviously I had to go see this, and man, this movie is extremely fun. And pretty much what you see from the trailer is exactly what you get. Don't know if you noticed, but I had to make it back to the crib right quick, so let me continue this. And what I love about this film is it kept it fun because the fact that he's going down a Rolodex of his family members and he's knocking each one off. Everybody that he runs into is a different type of person that comes with a different type of setting. And one thing about Glen that I find enjoyable about his acting, it seems like he really likes to do dress up and wear goofy ass costumes and goofy wigs, knowing that it doesn't really look like him, and even put on voices that amplify the campiness. So to each situation that he's dealt with when it comes to a family member, he changes that up. And all of these family members are very colorful, and it provides a really big sense of comedy for each person in different ways. I mean, one of the descendants is like this youth pastor who has this terrible haircut, and I think he's played by Topher Grace. That whole interaction was hilarious. And with these kills, what also keeps it exciting and interesting is the fact that you don't know how they're going to be presented. You know they're going to happen, but it keeps the structure very loose in what he does. Like, sometimes you might see him straight up do the killing himself. Other times you'll see him planning out the kill, and then it just cuts to the aftermath of what happened, and you don't really see it, what happens, but it's explained after you see it planned. And that sounds really weird to say, but when you see the movie, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So it really plays with the how, and that keeps things interesting quite a bit. And Margaret Qualley is already here. I think that's how you pronounce her name. If that's the wrong pronunciation, pardon me. But she's in this film, and I don't really want to give too much on her character, but what I will say is that I really enjoyed how much of a stoic piece to the puzzle she was. I'm not familiar with all of her work. I've seen her in a few movies, but I've never seen her like this from what I have saw. And it almost felt like a stern reporter with the way she carried herself, which reminded me kind of like of Lois Lane in a sense, from her diction, how clear she was, and no nonsense she also is. And it's also cool to see how the twist works in this film, because of course they give you a lot in the trailer, and I mentioned the story earlier that's literally in the trailer, but as the movie goes on, there are twists and turns that keep you guessing. Even the way the movie starts and how it sets up the whole premise, I think, was pretty genius to keep the entire story interesting. And as I mentioned, the movie is about killing, but it's not in a way of like horror where it's like a bunch of blood and guts, or even serious. Of course, if you've seen the trailer, you know what I mean. It's all handled pretty comedically. So in a sense, the movie is a dark comedy, but it does have its moments when it gets real. And when it does, you really feel the weight of that. So that's all I'm going to say without spoiling it, because really to get into the things that I liked most, I would have to go spoilers. But by all means, if this movie looked interesting to you and you're a fan of Glen Powell and his work that he's been doing in the past few years, this is worth the watch because it's right along the lines of what he's been doing. And this is yet another one that I hope comes on Steelbook or Blu-ray in some format, because it's highly entertaining. So if you've seen How to Make a Killing, let me know in the comments what you thought about the film, what were your favorite moments, and try and keep it spoiler free. My favorite section of the film has to do with an artist / photographer that he meets that I find to be hilarious, man. But anyway, if you like this kind of content, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you already are subscribed, thank you. And until next time, peace. RapNerd Productions, no capping, that's word to mommy. Instead of banking on it, now rapping is just a hobby.